Hi, welcome to the Right Show, where I have wide-ranging conversations with fascinating people. I talk to everyone, really. We talk about all things psychology, mental health, and wellness. And today I'm joined by a singer-songwriter. So we will be talking about the relationship between mental health and music. And also, he's got a very inspirational story that we could all learn from. Adam Lanceley, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, Adam, if you could just tell us your backstory, your trajectory in life, and how you ended up doing what you're doing.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's so complicated. I mean, where it began, I never would have dreamt it would have led to where it is now. I mean, basically, I was a very high achiever from quite a very early age, and basically, it was just totally reset when I had a really severe road traffic accident when I was 10. And since then, I mean, everything just kind of stopped, and I just had to relearn everything and relearn how to, how to walk, how to talk. Um, and I never would have ever would. I don't think anyone would have dreamt that I'd be where I am today. Um, so for that, to like to try not to get too kind of negative about it, I one of the things I do is just tell myself how grateful I am to have been able to do this.
And thank you for sharing to us such I know it's a traumatic experience. So you had a car accident when you were younger, and then since then it has changed your life dramatically. And so right now I understand you're doing a lot of music. You're writing music, and you're also singing. So
Yeah.
what was your life before that? I know you said that you're quite a high achieving child when that accident happened, but how is it like? What are the aspirations of the younger Adam, so to speak?
Well, I don't know, that's quite a good question, but I don't really recall that much of my life beforehand. All I know is that, um, well, I know I put myself under a hell of a lot of pressure. Um, I know I felt under pressure, and I know I felt everyone expected a lot of me, and I know I wasn't easy on myself. Um, but aside from the academic side of things, where I always um, felt under pressure, the only other thing I had time for, and the only other thing I really loved, was sport, and that was probably the hardest thing about my car crash. I just didn't know what to do with myself. I had to watch all the people I had been at school with still doing sport, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't even walk. It was just kind of like, it was just kind of a real jolt to the system. I just didn't know what to do with myself.
Of course, just like what you've said, Adam, it's really a jolt to the system. It doesn't really matter whether it's an accident, but any sort of major life event, it could really be a shock to the system, as you've put it, like, let's say, death of a loved one, or say, for instance, the pandemic. So from someone who has, experienced really a life-changing situation, such as a car accident, what would be your advice to people? Because you've clearly demonstrated a good level of resilience. You managed to turn around your situation into something more positive. As like what you've said earlier, we should not really dwell into the negative aspect of what we've experienced. So from someone who has just experienced that, what would be your advice?
I don't know. Again, that's a really difficult question for me to answer because everyone's different. And me, if I hadn't you know, if it wasn't in my makeup the way I am, if it wasn't the way I am, to keep pushing myself and you know, always keep reaching higher, never be satisfied with what I've done. Um, I'm certain I wouldn't be where I am today. And I mean, even the doctors in the hospital all those years ago, you know, they said originally I think they said, you know, he's probably going to die. And then yeah, they were just like, yeah, well, he'll never, you know, he'll never be able to um, live a proper life in or get back into mainstream education. And I know they said he'll never walk again, and that just made me really determined to get out of that wheelchair and start walking. Um, so, but I mean, in answer to your question, um, I don't know, because some people, you know, some people have it in them to respond to um, you know, people pushing them, and some people are just a totally different makeup, and they respond to, you know, other kinds of encouragement. And yeah, so sorry, I forget what was your question again.
Okay, I was just asking what you advise, but basically you kind of touched upon it. You said that you really don't know what sort of advice to give to give to other people who
Yeah,
might have
in
encountered.
general, yeah, in general, I mean, everyone's different, so you know, I I can only give advice to people who are similar to me, and that won't work for everyone. But just the only thing I can say is, you know, just never lose faith, never stop trying to, you know, dream and believe you can get where you want to be. And you know, I mean, times when I was anorexic, that was one of the lowest points of my life, certainly post accident. And it was, yeah, I don't know how, I just kept believing, I kept trying to believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if I hadn't, then, you know, I think I probably would have capitulated completely, kind of given up. I was in such a mess. But yeah, so that's one thing I could say.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's a lovely message, Adam. It's really a lovely message. Do not give up. Because you know we would all undergo something that would really challenge our dreams and aspirations. But like what you've said, just don't give up. And I think what you also have to talk about this is that you mentioned that it might be on your psychological makeup. But one thing I want to ask you, Adam, is would you say that you also benefited from a very supportive network, your family and your friends, what in spite of the doctor said something like you won't be able
Yeah,
to you
yeah,
won't be able
yes,
to walk again.
certainly. Certainly. I mean, friends and family, and wherever you can, you know, find support. I mean, that is essentially one of the most important things in a recovery. Um, you know, you know, it's so much hard. It's why do it on your own? It's so hard without other people. Yeah, that's probably the most important thing. Um,
Absolutely. Mhm. And of course, aside from your supportive network, your family and friends, music also play a significant role in your life. So could you just talk to us how you discovered music and what exactly does music mean to you?
yeah, this is really funny story. I mean, I was like I said, I was at a loss after I was like a bit lost, and I didn't know really what to do, because I, you know, I kind of knew pretty early on that I wouldn't be able to go for a career in sport or pursue any kind of sport anymore. And I kind of knew that early on after my car crash. I wouldn't like admit it, but I did know it. And I was just at a bit of a loss. And I kind of got into acting. You know, I quite liked it. It was, it just didn't really kind of just didn't really reach down deep enough to like get to the part of me that was like kind of yearning to get out, saying, "Hey, let me out." It I found it when I was trying to be someone else. It didn't really help me deal with who I was and what I had to express. So yeah, and how did I first get into music? The funny thing is, I think I was in a really, really kind of tacky place, like Asda or some really obscure place, and I just heard the Beach Boys over the store speaker. I Get Around, and I thought, man, who is this? I love this. This is great. This I've got to know more about this, and I'd always been into like old school kind of older music, but never kind of to the same in intensity that I felt it then. And a close family friend of mine um, was the drummer for Sonny and Cher out in California, and this was around the same time that I discovered that, and he'd tell me all these stories about California and the whole music scene, and times he drove around with a time he drove around for a while with Brian Wilson when he was trying to calm him down, and Brian Wilson was just talking, saying, "God, my brother Dennis, man, he's such a nightmare. Never should have had him in the band," and all this stuff. And then shortly after that, around that kind of period of my life, I became anorexic, and but I'd already kind of got into the Beach Boys and the whole thing. And one of the things that helped me keep believing, like I said, I'm so glad I kept believing that I get through it, even though I wasn't sure I would. But one of the things that helped me find the strength to was the song by the Beach Boys, "God Only Knows," and I just kind of
Yeah.
I fell in love with like the honesty and the sentiment and the arrangement of the tune and the harmonization and everything. Yeah,
You kind of read my mind, Adam, because I was about to ask you what song was that by the Beach Boys, and I've got to be honest with you, I only know one song from the Beach Boys, and that is "God Only Knows." So
yeah,
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 it's a lovely song.
yeah,
It's a it's a lovely story how you came to be acquainted with your musical interests. But you mentioned earlier that you kind of you're drawn to more old school kind of music, and then you
yeah,
also tried acting. So
yeah,
what,
and yeah, yeah. Sorry.
but no, I was just gonna ask, but would you say that over the years your musical taste has transformed, because there's kind of genre now. Did
No,
it appeal to you?
my music is still like I still love the same stuff that I used to love in the beginning. Just as I've got more kind of experienced and well better to put in a more accurate word, my um, arrangement and the way I put music together has just become more kind of complex and intricate, and I think that's really what it's all about. I mean, the intricacy in music it's just like I view it as the composer or the singer songwriter or whatever, his way of kind of getting to an emotion and letting the world know about it.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you've got an interest with music and also you tried a bit of acting. Clearly a creative outlet is really, sort of embedded with your personality. But have you tried any other activities, just to spend your time, especially during the lockdown?
Yeah, well, without exercise, I'm kind of obsessed with exercise. Without that, my mental health would certainly be in a lot more sorrier place than it is now. And socializing, I mean, without other people, without being in social situations, that's one of the things I found hardest about the lockdown. But without socializing, and my mental health would be a lot worse than it is today.
Absolutely. And it's really wonderful, as cliche as it may sound, but it's really wonderful that, technology has enabled us to connect with different people. We're not really far away from each other, but we're still talking. I understand you're in Putney, I'm in East London, but it's just make things a lot more convenient. Now, I know another thing that I want to ask you is that you've done a lot of things in relation to creative
Can I
outlet.
yes, sorry.
Now you've done a lot of things in relation to creative outlets like acting or
Yeah,
music.
can I
What would
just
you say?
expand on what I was saying about I got into the Brit school, yeah, when I was 16, 15 or something, 16 or something, and I didn't go there, and I felt so kind of guilty about that. So I made myself go to East 15 acting school, and that wasn't a good move. They weren't very accommodating towards me, and it just wasn't a good move. So it was kind of it was kind of a mutual decision that it wasn't the right thing for me. So anyway, so that's why um, that was why I left there. But when I had left, it was maybe it was a twist of fate. Maybe it was, but I had a part time job in a bar, and I met this musician. Although even though he worked full time in the pub, it really his full time job was a musician, and and I'd known a guy who was at acting school while I was there, who always used to bring an electric guitar, and I used to say, "Oh, that's so cool." And well, why don't you give it a go, Adam? Why don't you try and learn the guitar? And I was like, "No, I don't think I could do that." And anyway, when this other guy, I found out he was a guitar teacher. I just thought, yeah, just take the opportunity, Adam, and you don't know where it'll lead. And and now, uh, all right, I wasn't like the genius on the guitar, the kind of Jimi Hendrix person I wanted to be. That was a bit disappointing, but I just found I could write down all my emotions and stuff, and he actually encouraged me to do this, and just kind of cannonballed from there, and that's really how I got into music, fully into music. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Also, what I want to find out, Adam, is what would you say is your greatest achievement is?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I've done, I've done quite a few things. I've done it well, a lot of things, to be honest. But without trying to be big-headed, but you know, I did the marathon a few years ago, and after like what the doctors said about my legs when I was in hospital, and oh, he'll never walk, and oh, you know, and he'll never, you know, and all of this stuff. So that was a massive achievement. I didn't enjoy it much. My tendons kind of fell apart on one foot, and I hurt my Achilles tendon in my left leg, so I could barely walk. Had to hobble through the last what 12 miles or something, and they kept saying, "Please lie down. You need some treatment." I just smile at them and say, "No, man. If I lie down, I ain't gonna get back up." And they just say, "Okay, okay." But that was a big achievement. I've done a lot of mountaineering, and that's a real achievement. You know, I like one of the mountains I did. Well, yeah, I mean it's all a big achievement. All the acting I've done professionally, you know, it all means a lot to me, and it all helps me keep pushing myself. But personally, the biggest achievement that I have is that I've that I can say I've done is I've released 111 of my own tunes, all written, arranged, and composed by me. And you know, to me, that means the most of all.
Absolutely, and of course, that is indeed an achievement on itself. So, if you could just talk to us about your new album, Adam.
Yeah, my new album is called Welcome to the Next Century. And on a personal level, it's called that because my last EP brought up 100 tunes. So this is the other 11 after the 100. So this is the next century. But also, I just kind of feel the timing of its release, it just, I think I was very fortunate with that because what with, I mean, it was planned to be um, released at the end of the whole lockdown thing, but I just feel fortunate with the circumstances that I had it ready to release at the beginning of May, and yeah, that was just when the world was coming out of lockdown, and and stuff was beginning to kind of get a bit more normal. Hopefully, it keeps getting even more normal, but and on a level that everyone can relate to, it's just like you know all of that's behind us. Welcome to a new kind of better life. Welcome to a better world. And it's I've arranged them all, and partly because of my state of mind while I've been doing it. Most of it I was a lot happier when I was. I've been a lot happier lately, and that kind of I just want to write happy music, and so I just think it sounds perfect, a perfect kind of album for the time of its release because it's summery, it's lively, it's poppy, it's cool. Even though I do say so myself, but anyway, yeah. So it's called Welcome to the Next Century.
That is a lovely album. So what I'll do, Adam, is I'll put the link on the video description box. So for anyone who was interested about your album, they could get it for themselves.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at Mhm.
It's available everywhere
Mhm.
online, more stores than I know about. Yeah, so yeah, check it out.
Yeah, thank you. And Adam, how long have you been in the music industry? And How would you describe the mental health aspect of working within that kind of industry?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question because I suppose I've been in it coming up to 20 years, 19, 18 years, something like that. Um, and really, it's such a tough business. So if you know, don't just do it. Don't just do it because you're good at it. Because you know it's the nature of the business that there'll be other people who aren't as good as you who and who aren't as technically proficient or whatever it is who do do much better than you. So don't just do it because you're good at it. Don't do it if you want to make money. Only do it if you love it. Because it's such a brutal business. It's tougher than acting, I would say. It's more lonely. But like it's probably the biggest kick in the world when you, well, for me anyway, when I write lyrics down, I think, God, this is great. This addresses exactly what I wanted it to, and then the whole creative process when I get get a melody and get a tune and start arranging it and planning it and I know exactly what I want to do when I'm in the studio and yeah, and then that's kind of the culmination of it all when I've recorded it and I think, yeah, this is so good. And it's just like, yeah, and also on the other side of that, there's the whole performing as well. That's a real buzz. But yeah, so basically, the bit of advice I would give to anyone is if you don't love it, don't bother.
Absolutely. Mhm. And like what you've said, Adam, it's really a brutal business, and I suppose we've seen that from a number of people, Amy Whitehouse, who else, Avicii. We've seen all of that, and I just wanna throw in some statistics that I found here, Adam. Actually, I found on in an article published in the Grammys website in 2002, they say that 73% of independent artists report symptoms of anxiety or depression, and the industry that supports them struggles with an ecosystem of mental health challenges as well. So, my question to you is, because you've been in the music industry for quite some time now, so what do you think? I understand you're an independent artist, but what would you
Yeah.
say the music industry as a whole, what can they do to promote positive mental health within your community?
Well, the music industry is yeah, it is brutal and it's I would say it's the nature of people, the artists in the industry, that they are more vulnerable to most of them, most of us, because I am, depression and mental health issues. And on the other side of that, you got the labels and the business side of it, which is just yeah, it's just I don't think it's right at all, really, that that they can tell you how to do your own music and say no, do it like this because this will be more commercial, and they really don't look after the business side, doesn't look after the artistic side in this industry and in acting. But more so in this industry. And yeah, I just think it would be everything would be a lot better if the two sides work together more more kind of give and take with each other.
Absolutely, it's really a give and take relationship, not just for the higher up within the music community, but also for independent artists such as yourself. And I think it's
Mm.
really important that we're pushing this to the fore, because ultimately, the more we talk about mental health, it generates it generates it kind of influences policy, and it puts things in place, and that's what we're trying to achieve, whether what kind of creative outlet you're actually on. Now, on a more positive note, Adam, are there any emerging trends in music or mental health that you're excited about?
I don't know. Well, I've heard about so many supposedly emerging things in mental health that I've just kind of stopped listening. Like my mental health is something that I just try and keep like at the back of my mind, just keep it in control and not really focus on it too much. And
What about music? What any are there any exciting trends in music that you're looking forward into?
well, I'm looking forward to when live performances are able to happen again. And yeah, but and I think it's fairly optimistic what people like what various artists are trying to do with the whole free streaming, and how the artist should get more recognition rather than the platform. Because right now I think the artist gets about 0.01% or something for downloads. So I mean, I think it looks like it's might it there's an effort being made that it to equalize the whole thing, and so it won't. Hopefully, it won't be one-sided, where you've got the management and the business side taking pretty much all of the money. Hopefully, it's going to kind of even out the playing field a bit, but yeah, we'll see. But there are a couple of trends that I'm fairly optimistic about.
Well, that really sounds nice, because we've been hearing a lot of things that, like what you've said, people such as yourself, independent songwriter, do not really earn a lot from the sales. But like what you've said, if that kind of platform or that kind of system is in place, hopefully you get more from out of your hard work. So I hope that really happens
Well,
very soon.
can I just say it's not just independent artists. I mean,
Mhm.
I know a guy who used to be a music manager. This is a different guy from the drummer. He was I know he was Joan Armour Trading's manager, or something like that. A manager or something on the business side. And he just said, "Oh, I had to. There's no money in music. You know, and it's even worse for the artists. Even worse for the artists, because if there is any money that they're making, the management side, or that it'll all go to the management side, and the artist won't. Like in most cases, obviously there are exceptions, but there are so many examples of artists who just don't earn any money.
Absolutely. And yeah, thanks for clarifying that, Adam. So it's not just for independent artists, but for everyone across the sector. So, Adam, you've mentioned earlier that you were kind of introduced to the appeal of music by the Beach Boys, but are there any other figures who inspires you both professionally and personally?
Oh, yeah, I mean, before the Beach Boys, before I really got into music, the first person I was massively into was Elvis. I loved him, and I just think he's I just think he's got to be the most consummate performer and entertainer that there's been. Full stop. And that there may never be another. I just think he was a genius on stage. He had so much charisma and presence on stage. Yeah, I loved Elvis, and I love it. Really, I love loads of people from that kind of era. The Rolling Stones and yeah, the Eagles, and yeah, the anyone really from that kind of era. Later on, kind of maybe REM or the Verve and just stuff like that.
Absolutely. And Adam, of course, music plays a significant role in your life, in what you do every day. But how do you relax? What's your distressing outlet if it's not music? So what's the kind of thing that, kind of calms you down?
Well, like I said earlier, I'm kind of bordering on unhealthily obsessed with exercise, and as soon as I think, oh God, I'm in a stress, even if I've thought a couple of minutes before, God, I'm so tired, I'm definitely not gonna, do any exercise today. I'm not gonna run. I'm just gonna have a day off, and then I can really quickly just um, spiral into a panic and an anxiety kind of trip. And and then I just think, oh, I suppose I better go on a run or better do exercise of some kind, and that might calm me down a bit. And yeah, and that does. And yeah, and the other really helpful thing, like I've said, that I find certainly is just socializing, just being around people, just getting on with people, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of why lockdown. Once again, that's why it was so hard for me.
Mhm. Absolutely. And so some people who will be watching this, that they kind of, like want to follow your path. So can you recommend good sources for, learning the best practices about songwriting? And have you got any advice for those who's just starting their musical career?
Uh, it's it's difficult because songwriting isn't something you can teach. You can either do it or you can't. I mean, I thought I could never do it until I just suddenly got all these emotions. And if it hadn't been for this guy, the guy who taught me the guitar, if he hadn't said, "Look, write it down, make a song," and he hadn't kind of given me a few pointers, I don't know if I would have done it. But it's certainly not something you can teach. It's either there or it's not there. Um, and however good a musician you are, if if you're not, if you haven't got it in you to write a song, write a good song, then it's just not something you can teach. I don't think. But sorry, what was the other
Yeah, but
question?
what would be your advice to those who are just starting off with their career in music?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Uh well, don't aim too high. If you're not enjoying it, stop and don't do it and do something else. Um, but if you are enjoying it, then keep doing it, and it's the best thing you can do if you've got a love for it, and it'll help you find an emotional outlet and a every I can't think of the word but it'll help you find more outlets than you could
Mhm.
want.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, if you don't love doing it,
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah,
That's
I, I, I I
what it
think
is.
Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what you're saying is that don't just do music for for that
For the
financial
sake of
aspect
it,
of it. Yeah.
but for the sake of it, yeah.
Mhm.
Like I did this music course once, quite a few years ago, and the first thing that the lecturer said, one of the lecturers, was, if you're only doing this because you want to make money, get out, go and do something else. You know, don't do music if you don't love it. And yeah, I mean that's the truth, because it's it's a really hard industry, and if you're only doing it to make money, there are so many other far safer, far better ways of making money um, than music. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Absolutely. I think just to carry on with my point, I think what you're trying to emphasize here is that music is more of a creative and personal outlet rather than as a means to be rich. And
Yeah,
also, I think. Mhm, mhm.
yeah, no, yeah, sure. I mean, that's what it is. It's I mean, like, if it does make you rich, that's a bonus. But don't do it because you want to be rich, because it more than likely it won't make you rich. Only do it if you love doing it, and yeah, and anything else that happens is another bonus.
Absolutely. And of course, I think we have to put things into perspective that, yeah, although some musician, they make, they become celebrity, but a lot of people do not really, reach that stage, but they just carry on doing the music because they love it. It's a form of,
Yeah.
it's they're passionate about it. It's a form of creative expression. Okay, so Adam, we've been talking a lot about your passion in music, and also you've tried a bit of acting early in life. But I want to hear from you. What's the most important thing you want people to know about you and the work that you do? Like, what's the big message from Adam?
Uh my music, my lyrics, and my arrangement and everything is just kind of um my outlet of getting emotion over to the world that would otherwise just be festering away inside me. And my message to other people with mental health issues is, find something like that. Don't find something like that. Find a network. Find someone you can rely on. Find some people you can rely on. Talk to people. Don't keep things in. And yeah, if you can find something that, like music is for me, um, that gives you a buzz, gives you an outlet, gives you a sense of achievement, helps you relax, then yeah, you're halfway to getting over your your mental problem.
Absolutely, that's a lovely message from you, Adam,
And
and
take
thank you
that
for.
from a man with experience of many mental issues.
Thank you, and thank you for emphasizing the importance of achieving your dream. And I think what one thing that we can also learn from your story is the value of resilience and the value of bouncing back in spite of what you've experienced early in life, that you had a car accident, but you've carried on, and that's I think that's a really poignant story that everyone who's watching this interview can learn from you. So Adam, what's your professional dream?
I don't know. I don't know. I try not to dream too big. I just like I my professional dream obviously is, I'd like to, be a worldwide star. But that I just want to keep enjoying it. I just want to keep enjoying it, and as long as I enjoy what I'm doing, the writing and the recording and the producing and the singing, and then I'll keep doing it. And anything else that comes along will be a bonus. But yeah, I think it's most sensible. Just keep your dreams small. Keep your dreams
Mhm.
not small. I got that wrong, but don't let your dreams get out of hand. And it
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. I think that the key thing here is that enjoy it, and like what you've said, what you keep on saying during this conversation is that everything else is just a bonus. Now,
yeah.
we're already nearing towards the end of the interview, Adam. But if there's one song that would you say best represents your life, what song would it be? You could pick a song from your own album.
From my own album. What would you rather it was from my own album, one of my own albums, or another one?
Yeah, well, why don't we do this? One song that best represents your life. Doesn't have to be from your own album, and then your favorite song from your album. How about that?
Okay. All right. Let's see. Well, I would say the song that pretty much best represents my life is the one I mentioned earlier, "God Only Knows," by the Beach Boys, and uh, yeah, and the song from my own album, any of my own albums that best represents my life. Oh, I don't know. That's quite a tough one. When you've released 111 of them, yeah, you kind of struggle a bit. But I would say it's yeah. Actually, no. End of deliberation. No, the song that means the most to me that I've recorded is and released is Handle Me with Care off my last EP, Deliverance.
So everyone who's listening this should listen to that particular song in your album, so they could get a sense of why you pick up that song.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And also another one that is kind of inspired by God Only Knows off my latest album is the last one, Wherever You Want Me to Be. And I would say they were the two songs I've written that are kind of me deep down, an expression of my kind of, yeah, just kind of totally honest about me and the way yeah, my kind of what I want and stuff.
Absolutely. And Adam, just out of interest, how long does it take you to compose a song?
Well, it depends. It depends what kind of mood I'm in. If I've got something I really feel strongly about, I can write a song in 20 minutes. If I've got something I feel really strongly about and the lyrics just flow, um and it's the same when I'm arranging it. If I know exactly how I'm how if I'm in tune totally with my emotions, when I wrote it down, then I know exactly what chord should go where, and I know the exact arrangement. So really, it depends on, it depends on kind of how motivated I am, and certainly how emotionally attached to the song I am.
Absolutely. And finally, Adam, remind us again of your album and where can we buy it? And also tell us what else is in the pipeline. And if people who are watching this, listening to this, wanted to reach out to you, what platforms can they get in touch with you at?
Okay, well, you can follow me on Twitter. You can tweet me at Adam Lanceley. Um, you can find all my albums online on more stores than I know about. This album is called Welcome to the Next Century, and it is available to free stream and download. Yeah, I think that was all you said, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thank you, Adam. Well, Adam, it's a pleasure having you here on the DRH show, but unfortunately, our time is up. It's really lovely talking to you. I look forward to hearing more about your work.
Okay, great. Thanks.